So hey, welcome back to the channel guys, and then on today's video we're actually out on the new Aprilia Tuono V4 1100 factory version. Now I did ride the black version of this down at Aprilia on one of the press days, and we got a small ride out on one of these, but I wanted to get the bike for a couple of weeks, put it through its paces and give you my honest thoughts and opinion on what I think of this machine. So if you're interested in that, stick around and we'll be right back. So hey, welcome back, and behind me, as you see here, it's the Aprilia Tuono, the V4 1100. This is the factory version. So what I'm going to do is give you a walk round of this bike and tell you a few things about it compared to the standard version. Right then, you can get this bike in a standard version, which is priced at $15,500. And that comes with higher bars. You've got a comfier seat and also a comfy passenger seat. It doesn't come with the full Öhlins electronic suspension like you do have on the factory version, and also it comes with a bigger screen up front, so more suited for touring and general use. The factory version that we've got here comes in at $18,100, and like I say, you get the electronic Öhlins suspension on this bike. So on the factory version just here, this is the Aprilia Black, and then you've got an Ultra Dark. On the standard version you have a Glacier White, a Tarmac Grey. The engine in this bike is the V4. This is the 1077cc 65 degree crank, and this churns out 175 brake horsepower at 11,350 RPM, and then you've got the torque on this, which is 121 Newton meters at 9,000 RPM. So it has a 6-speed gearbox, and you've got a up and down quick shifter on this bike. You've got the new low slung rear swing arm for 2021-2022. The electronics on this bike, so you have a full suite of electronics which Aprilia call the APRC, and this gives you 6-axis IMU. You've got lean sensitive traction, you've got launch control, engine braking, cruise control, pit limiter, wheelie control, 6 rider modes, 3 for road and 3 for track, and one of those road modes is configurable, as are all modes within the superb on-dash menus. So the brakes on the bike, you've got Brembo M50 calipers, and that's on 330mm floating discs. On the rear you have also a Brembo 2-pot caliper, and that comes also with a 220mm rear disc, both with ABS front and rear. The suspension, as you can see here, is full Öhlins electronic suspension on the front, and then just tucked under the rear of the bike you have the full Öhlins rear suspension, again fully electronic. The seat height on the bike, this is quite high actually, at 835mm. On the standard version it actually lowers down by about 10mm, I believe. So it's quite challenging, even though it is a small bike, for the shorter rider. What I'm going to do now is just hop on the bike, just show you my leg position. So that's in my riding position just now. As you can see, you can either have on the balls of your feet, but my leg is quite tucked up, and if they only move the pegs a little bit down and a little bit backwards, then it would give me a little bit more room. On the standard version you've got higher bars, so probably here, so you're more upright, but I believe the foot pegs are in the same position. Like I said, seat height 837mm, so quite high. It's quite narrow at the front though, and I can flat foot this bike with a little bit of a curve, so I would say anybody from 28 to 29 might be able to flat foot the bike if that's your inside seam. Anything less than 28 and you're going to be on tippy toes. Weight of this machine, so you've got 209 kilograms dry weight, and also the tank size on here is 17.9 litres. And then fuel consumption, it's quite thirsty at 7.2 litres per 100 kilometres, so I would say it's on par with my Yamaha MT-10 SP with how quick you get through that fuel. Other things on the bike, you've got this styled front faired setup with the twin headlights. It actually looks quite good. I don't know whether you'll see it in the sunlight just here. I need to put the ignition on. There we go. So you've got twin DRLs on the front and then two headlights with a single light in the middle. Yeah, you've also got the little air ducts just here, the built-in wings. You've got a belly pan on the bike. It would be nice if the factory version came with a bit of carbon on it. There's none on this bike, and you've got a bit of plastic front mudguard. So on the brake levers, this is a fully adjustable with a Brembo master cylinder. You don't have a adjustable clutch lever, and also the mirrors, while quite functional, yeah, they're pretty much like every naked bike stalky mirrors. Like I say, you don't get a rear seat. I believe you can get a small one that this comes off and then fits on, but it's not really a passenger bike. And those foot pegs are really, really high. I do believe on the standard Tuono that they're actually longer and more suited towards a passenger. So if you're going to carry a passenger on a bike like this, then I would suggest the standard version. Also with the larger screen, it's a little bit more protected from the wind. Okay, so the dashboard on the bike is very easy to read. You've got 3 rider modes. You've got touring, you've got sport, and then you've got a user-friendly one. Those are the 3 modes. As I say, they're all configurable. You can go into the menu here and also adjust everything up you want. It has engine temperature, fuel gauge, it's got your gear position indicator, your speed, your tachometer, and also you've got different things on here like trip meter, odometer. So the clock is in the bottom right hand corner, and then you've got some warning lights and things like that on this dash. But yeah, it's fully configurable, easy to read, very clear, and it goes into a dark mode when you go through tunnels as well. The switch gear, you've got cruise control just here, you've got the menu buttons, you've got indicators which aren't self-cancelling, and I would have expected they would have been. You've got a horn, high and low beam. On the other side you've got your headlight or your DRL running lights on and off, start stop, and then your mode button. Now, I did about 195 miles yesterday bringing this back from Aprilia, and on the motorway it's a naked bike, so you're going to get that wind blast anyway. The foot position on the bike is a little bit higher up than the MT-10 SP, so my legs are a little bit cramped. I'm 6'2" with a 32 inside seam. Like I say, on the standard version you get a raised bars, you get a higher screen, so the foot pegs I think could do with being a little bit lower by 10mm and maybe 10mm back a little bit. That would just give the longer legged rider a little bit more space. Okay, let's get back on it, take it for a spin, and I'll tell you my thoughts on this bike. Now, the seating position, like I mentioned, my legs are a little bit cramped up. It's quite far forward, I would say a little bit sports bike-ish, but if you wanted something more sit-up than the standard version, or just buy the risers that are off the standard version to put onto this one, and that would make it more upright. But if it was my bike, I would like the pegs to be a little bit lower and a little bit further back, which you can get aftermarket ones to fit onto there, so that would be an improvement certainly on the bike. Now, one thing I didn't mention was that on the lever just here underneath you've got a plus and minus, and what that does is you can actually reduce or increase your traction control in any mode. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you what noise this thing makes. It's an absolute beast. Red line's at 12,500. So on the low RPM, the torque feels a little bit less than my MT-10 SP, but when you get over 5,000, 5,500 RPM, that's where it all kicks in and goes absolutely mental. So let me just show you what I mean. just started to rain, so I'm not going to go crazy on this thing with it being our first day on the bike. We'll obviously wait for a better day to really test this thing out on corners and how it handles. But yeah, just a quick first video, look round and my first thoughts on this thing. I've done about 195 miles to get this back from Silverstone to where I live. So I've done lots of motorway work, but not too much twisty lanes. So we've got it for another 10 days anyway around there. So we'll be out on it again, and I'll give you my final thoughts video on this bike as we ride it some more. Lovely weather, typical British weather. Luckily it's only scattered showers. But yeah, if you're interested in Aprilia, then certainly tune back in for the second video, which will be coming up in a few days' time. And if you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed already, then don't forget to subscribe, ding that bell for future videos coming up, and all helps if you can give us a like as well, guys. Back soon with some more content on the brand new Aprilia Tuono V4 1100. Take care, guys.